Hello, my friends. Jane here, the wellness engineer, your host of the Wellness by Design podcast. And today I am talking about inspiration and how to find inspiration and how to trust your intuition, know when you're being guided. For me, this has been actually, I would say my health journey started with inspiration and guidance, and it's something I kind of ignored for a while. And then I brought it back again, and now I use it all the time. So, this is such a beautiful topic, and I hope that you feel inspired and motivated and want to try tuning into your inner guidance a little bit more and trusting the intuition that's always available to you. So, just to tell you, the first time with my health journey that I actually really tuned into this, it came like, I wouldn't say I was even trying to tune into it. I was at the lowest point I was in chronic pain and, uh, really feeling very lost, um not really looking forward to my future. In fact, feeling like I didn't really want to be in my future if it was going to be filled with chronic pain and I wouldn't be able to do the things that I wanted to do. And right after I had that thought, I had a voice in my head, I guess, but it said, "Your life is not meant to turn out like this. You will figure this out and you will tell other people how to do it." So that kind of came like a really big download, and I couldn't ignore it. But what was really beautiful about it was that it gave me that unwavering faith that I needed to continue on a healing journey that took me years. Okay, it took me years because, well, I didn't actually listen. I knew that was there, but I wasn't like day by day tuning in to my inner guidance. I learned to do it better later on, and I'll talk to you about that. I think all of us know that in our lives, we've had moments where we've had inspiration that seemed to come from nowhere. Maybe an idea for something to create, or maybe even something like you thought of someone and then they called, or you have like little coincidences. Here's a beautiful one for me that for my mother, right after she died. Uh, it came to me in a meditation about a white dove and white feathers. And then right after I finished that meditation, there was a white feather stuck on my back. And I didn't say anything about it. And went downstairs and my husband Noel said, "Hey, you got something in your back." I didn't know the feather was there actually. And I was like, "I know what," I said, "It's a white feather, isn't it?" And he said, "Yeah, how did you know?" I was like, "Well, I had this meditation." And now I see white feathers everywhere and in the most unlikely places. And every time I see them, I feel like it's my mother kind of letting me know that she's around. I hear other people talking about this, like pennies from heaven or nickels from heaven, or maybe like another funny thing is I always feel like black crows are my father. um, but yeah, so these little, like, have you seen little signs like that that let you know that your loved one is near? I've had so many over my life that it's kind of it's hard to ignore. But these were signs that showed up. What I want to also talk to you about today is, first of all, love those signs when they show up, but also I want to teach you how you can tune into your inner guidance, like ask for help when you want it and get it, not just kind of waiting for it to show up, which is still miraculous. Um, yeah, I just want you to be able to listen to your heart, like when your heart says, "Go into this store now," or "Open up this book," and you open it up to a certain page, like just let it open. Or, I mean, another thing I love is oracle cards, right? Opening up oracle cards, and you trusting that the message that you get is the message that you need right now. And yeah, so when you feel this guidance, move in the direction of it and feel gratitude for it. Um, just, yeah, feel very, very grateful for this guidance. And so they're very inspiring, right? So when you get these little moments of inspiration telling you to do something, or like advising you, maybe talk to this person, something like that, um, you'll know that it's guidance because you will feel like a little bit of excitement around it or a little bit of awe and wonder. And maybe it gives you a little bit of courage. I know that was a feeling that I had immediately after when I had that download when I was at my lowest point in my life. And by the way, a lot of people do get messages when they're at the lowest point in their life, or at like a rock bottom point. When that message came in, I did feel awe and wonder because I knew that I knew that I didn't say that. I knew that it was sort of coming from somewhere else. And so that gave me a lot of hope, right? Um, yeah, I mean, some people might even call these miracles, right? Are these miracles? And I think actually, I think about this quote by Einstein. I'm going to read it here. It says, there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle. So either nothing's a miracle or everything's a miracle. So it's not like there's no halfway between that, right? So if everything is a miracle, then we are always getting guidance. It's always available to us. And so I think that's a really beautiful thing to believe and expect, right? That we have guidance all around us and that we are witnessing miracles all the time. I mean, just really our physical body and what it can do. Like, if that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. But other things that show up. In fact, I keep a journal. So I got this beautiful journal and I will write in it. I try to do it every day. I started off with the magic I witnessed today. The magic I witnessed today. And then I will write down a couple of things. Now, the important thing about writing down like little coincidences, or really, you might think there really aren't any coincidences, right? We call them non coincidences, but these little miracles that show up, I mean, it might be tiny little things, little synchronicities. The more we notice them, it's like a sign of appreciation. So the more we'll get, but also we are activating our what's called the reticular activating system. So the RAS, the reticular activating system. So that's basically our brain. This reticular activating system helps us. It influences our perception and attention on what's going on. I mean, really, if we try to pay attention to every single thing that's going on in our environment, we just can't, right? So our reticular activating system tells our brain what to pay attention to. So, if we are paying attention to miracles and recognizing miracles, or whether you want to call them miracles or synchronicities or coincidences, if we're paying attention to these, then we're going to notice them more, right? Because our reticular activating system, the RAS, is honing in on those more. And so we will see even more of them. We'll notice more of them. Remember, they're going on all the time. So you can actually train your mind to look for inspiration, look for miracles, coincidences, synchronicities. And then you can also, then as you do this, you start to shift your perception. And maybe you're starting to say, I'm lucky. I'm choosing to be lucky. You can choose to look on the bright side. There's power in this. I remember it's funny, we always say our family is very lucky. And I remember my oldest son saying, Nick, he said something like, I don't understand when people say, I'm not lucky. Like, he said, you can choose whatever you want. Why wouldn't you just choose to say you're lucky? And so we always did do that. And it's so funny. Like, our kids would always win things. We always win things, like little contests, little prizes. We just keep saying, well, we're lucky. We can't help it. And it's true. We tend to have better than average luck. But I think it's because we're focusing on that and we're appreciating the luck that we have. And then when you do that, your vibrational match then for more of it, right? There's another quote I shared in my membership today, and I just want to read it to you. It's another quote by Einstein. It says, everything is energy. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is philosophy. Sorry, this is not philosophy. This is physics. Physics. So physics says that if we go around saying, I'm lucky, well, then that's what we're going to get back. It's one of the fundamental laws of the universe, right? What we put out is what we attract back. And so, why not? Why not choose to say, I'm lucky? Why not choose to say, miracles happen to me? Why not choose to say, um, I always get guidance, right? So any of these, just start to say all that in your reticular activating system will pay attention and you'll get more of it. And then we've got the whole law of the universe there and physics saying, yes, you're going to get more of it. So this is a choice. This is what I want you to realize. This is a choice. You can say and speak and notice all the times that you're lucky, all the miracles, the coincidences, the synchronicities, good things that happen to you, or you can focus on the opposite. Whichever you focus on is what will grow. What do you want to grow? Wouldn't you want to live a miraculous life and experience miracles all the time? And I'm talking about life in general, but this also applies if for health, right? For our own health. I chose to be a miracle. One way that I used to do that was for my health. So I had reverse rheumatoid arthritis, which is, they say you can't do it, but I did it. Other people have done it too. I'm not, I'm not the only miracle. Remember, miracles are, everything is a miracle, right? So we can make it a miracle. Um, so I chose to focus on what was going well each day. I chose to focus on how I was healing. I chose to say, I am a miracle. Miracles are possible. I chose to say, I am an example of what's possible. And this isn't to say I was perfect all the time. I had times when I would have setbacks, I'd have a flare, and I'd start to wonder, is this working? I'd start to have feelings like, I'm going to race against the clock, a race against time. I got to figure this out before I have permanent joint damage. What I know now is, as I said all those things, I was actually drawing all that to me, right? And so we want to catch ourselves. It's not to say that we never fall into negative thinking patterns, but we want to catch ourselves as early as possible, as soon as possible, and turn it around again. Now, this isn't to say that you can't have negative feelings. We can have negative feelings. We can acknowledge them, give them their place, let them have their say, and then release them and get back onto expecting miracles and finding inspiration everywhere and trusting your guidance, because your guidance is always there for you. So let's talk a little bit about oh, actually, before I say that, let's just even say, try it yourself. Notice if you always say, I'm in, let's take pain, for example. If you always focus on pain, notice that your pain will get worse, because it will. Just it's just physics, right? Then see if you can spend a whole day just focusing on what's going well in your life, the things that are feeling good. And just every time you notice pain, just do it for one day. Every time you notice the pain, see if you can switch your mind to something that's positive. And notice how physically you feel different. And that's just like a one-day experiment. Imagine if you did this every day, every day, every day. And I can tell you that it works, because it worked for me and it's worked for other people. So let's just talk about trusting that things are going well for you, trusting that you have guidance, because it's your guidance that's giving you these miracles and helping you notice these miracles. So it's kind of like, sometimes you may not even feel like that you have any guidance. Maybe you feel very alone. But we always have this guidance, and the more we use it, the more we can trust it. Um, so it's kind of like, you might be wondering sometimes with your guidance. Let's just talk about what the guidance feels like first, before I get into the analogy I wanted to share with you. Our guidance feels like a yes. Our guidance feels like expansion. Our guidance feels lightness. It feels like hope. It feels like love. Okay, so all of those expansive, loving feelings, that's what our guidance feels like. It feels like it's taking us in that direction. And I often use this way to even like feel your guidance in your body is to notice like, am I leaning towards when I think about that, or am I leaning away from it? Do I feel expansion or do I feel contraction? Do I feel heaviness or do I feel lightness? Okay, lightness is a good one. Heaviness is it's the not guidance. So our guidance always feels like a yes. Okay, it always feels like a yes. Uh, fear, fear is the opposite of guidance. Fear feels like all the opposite to those. So leaning away from it feels heavy. It feels contracted. It feels like a no, back off, Jack. Um, Now, the thing is, though, that when it comes to fear, we are we are conditioned to err on the side of negativity. We're hardwired to pay attention to negativity just because it was a survival thing. So, and we've created defenses in our ego mind to we created these like way back when to protect us. So this is not guidance, right? So if you I- so your guidance is like always leading you, but it will never say no. When you're feeling a no, that's not normally your guidance. Um, and so you might wonder sometimes, I don't know why. I don't know why, but my guidance is telling me I need to, leave this group or maybe change careers or not have this or have this food. So the guidance, you may not be able to understand like why it's there, but you can learn to trust it. It's kind of like with the GPS in a car. Sometimes the GPS it gives you a route and you're wondering why is it sending me off there? But you follow it because you know it's going to get you where you're going. So if you I talk a lot about creating a desire and a clear vision of where you want to go. If you've got that vision in your mind and you're bringing your mind to it every day. You're getting your mind to focus on it, that reticular activating system, focusing on it because you're telling it what's important and you're getting some guidance that seems like it's not taking you in the right way. If it feels expansive, if it feels hopeful, if it feels light, it might feel a little scary. I'm going to talk about a different kind of fear in a moment. Um, then that is your guidance. So there's a couple types of fear. Sometimes even when we're going in the right direction, we have what we may feel in our body or even think is fear, but it's not the fear that goes with our ego self or our protective self. It's really a fear that, I love this. I read this in this book by Tara Moore called Playing Big. She talks about these two types of inner guidance or two types of fear. One is the good fear that goes with kind of expanding yourself. And one is the fear where it's like projected fear that comes from your protective personality. So, Yira, I hope I'm pronouncing it right because these are Hebrew words. So I may not have it right. So, to anyone listening who's like saying or maybe cringing at my pronunciation, I do apologize. I'll do what I can. So, Yira, I think of it. So, it's a good type of fear. It's a fear that goes along with when we are expanding ourselves, when we're stepping into the unknown. So it happens when we inhabit a larger space than we're used to. It happens when we come into more energy than we're used to. It happens when we feel a presence of something bigger than us. Um, it feels expansive and spacious. You have a sense of awe. So like that voice that I heard, I can't really say that I felt fear, but I did definitely feel awe. So that's the Yira. That's the good kind of fear. And then the other type, which is the fear that is like coming from protection, um, is called pasha. I'm saying pashad. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. It's more like a projected type of fear. It feels contracted and tense. It feels like you're worried about the future. It feels like you're connected to negative thoughts, and your inner critic might be talking like, don't do that. Don't do that. You shouldn't do that. So the feeling, you really got to pay attention to the feeling, what you're feeling inside you when you're considering, is this the good fear, the yira, or is it the projected fear, pashat? So do a little split test on this. Your inner guidance, as some other like ideas, your inner guidance never tells you not to do something. It's either neutral or it's a leading to. Okay. In general, that's what we'll see. It's always affirmative. Do this. It doesn't say don't do this, which kind of makes a lot of sense to me in terms of what I've learned about our subconscious mind, and how our mind doesn't hear a negative, like it doesn't hear do not or I am not. It only hears, like, it just doesn't understand negative. So in other words, if someone says, I am not, if someone was trying to say, stop eating sugar. If you don't say, I am not eating sugar, your brain doesn't understand that. It just hears, I eat sugar. I feel like I'm eating sugar. Right. So it doesn't understand the not, and neither does our inner guidance. It comes at us only with an affirmative. It's always loving, okay, not critical. Okay, so it comes from a loving perspective. So if you want to try tuning in a bit more to your inner guidance and identifying when you're getting guidance, then here's some strategies I'd like to offer you to try. So I would say, if you're looking at like considering another alternative or considering something, then I would get quiet about it. And first of all, invite love in. So just invite love in. How can you do that? Feeling the emotions that are on the love side. That could be gratitude, it could be compassion, it could be love, it could be joy, it could be calmness, right? So any of those love side kind of emotions, invite them in and just kind of bask in that, feel it in your body. You can also talk to your inner guidance. So you might want to give your inner guidance, maybe you want to give it a name. Maybe you want to call it wiser self. Maybe you want to call it your future self. Whatever this guidance is, it's always there. And this is what the ancient texts and wisdom traditions and religious traditions have talked about for thousands of years, that we do have this bigger part of ourselves that's always available to us. So I would come at it also from curiosity. So with curiosity and fascination, let's do that. Do more of that curiosity and fascination about what is this guidance, and how can I tune into it? Um, Labeling, if you see any fear in a moment, in the moment, just go label as fear. I know this is fear talking. So as an example, I haven't done it in a while now, but I ain't gonna do it again. But when I go to get into the cold river, I mean, every part of me is saying, don't do this. Why would you do this? You don't want to be cold. You want to be comfortable. And I'd say to myself, I know that that's fear talking, because fear, my ego, just want me to stay comfortable. But I can do this. I can do this. And I am in the driver's seat. My fear isn't in the driver's seat. So just label it as fear. Or I think about when I first used to go on Facebook and do Facebook Lives to talk about my health journey. I mean, I was so nervous. I wasn't comfortable, and I thought, who's gonna listen? But I just like, nope, that's fear talking. I'm just going to do it. And something I say very often is that action is the antidote to fear. So taking action when you've got that kind of fear, the Bashad type of fear, then taking action is the antidote to that. Other things you can do is really get into the moment with things like breath work. So just get into the present moment and then breathe and notice the breath, get very calm, and then notice how you feel about this course of action, perhaps that you're considering, or this fear that might be coming up. You can look at calming imagery or listen to peaceful music, also great ways to get yourself, especially like your body and your mind, calm down so that that fear isn't speaking so loud, that you can hear the guidance of our inner voice, our wisdom, because it's subtle. It's very subtle. It's not very often. It's like a big clunk on the head, but it can be very subtle. So you need to be peaceful to notice it. And then if you have any tension, if you've got fear coming up, then you can notice where you're feeling it in your body and then breathe into it, almost like create movement there. Like a place where I feel a lot is in my solar plexus. So I will like try to breathe. So I'm creating movement there. Like it's a hard place to push, but creating movement there, like if you are into yoga, if you are a yogi, you could try breath of fire. That's a great one to do in a particular area. If it's in the core somewhere, you can imagine that you're breathing and that you're creating movement in that area. So, why not experiment with some of these things? Take something that you are thinking about that and could be just something small. I started actually doing this with food. I would hold food up against me and say, "Is this food? Is this something I should have right now? I should feed my body right now." And I would notice, did I lean away? Or did I lean away or did I lean towards? So my body would tell me, go towards, right? So that's a great way to start just with simple things. Or I mean, even like simple choices that won't have, major repercussions. Start with simple things like that. Should I go to the movie with my friends this night? Or should I go to the movie with my friends this night? And just like listen to that inner guidance. Is it leading me or is it not? Or ask for signs, right? Ask for a sign. If I'm meant to do this, give me a sign. You could even say, what sign are you going to give me? Right? And maybe a picture or a sound or something will come into your mind. And maybe the next song you hear on the radio, or maybe the next thing you notice will be like, oh, okay, I got it. I got it. I feel like for me, when I ask for signs and when I ask for guidance, it shows up all the time. And like that's a very common thing to happen. I'm not unique or special. I'm just an ordinary person, and we all have this. We just need to tune into it more. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that you see that everything really is a miracle when we choose to focus on the miraculous in our life, the synchronicities, the little daily miracles, the guidance, they show up more. And when we do that, we learn to trust it a little more. And so when we do that, we learn to rely on that inner guidance, and then it's always there for us. It's so beautiful. Um, so I encourage you to let people know about this if you think they need to hear it. I'd also love to hear your own stories of times when you've had inner guidance and you totally trusted it because you knew it was the thing. Or just even if you've had experiences, synchronicities that have happened, just say yes in the comments. So you could be watching this on YouTube, or you might be listening to the podcast, or you might be looking at it on my website, wherever it is, or you might be watching it on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you're watching, just let me know. Have you seen little coincidences and miracles, synchronicities showing up in your life? And I'm betting a lot of people are going to say yes because it's a common thing. Miracles are common and natural. Alrighty, so I hope you've had a great time listening to this and got some inspiration, and that you'll take heart and do some of these exercises for inner guidance. Share your stories. I think the more we talk about this, the more people will be guided from that higher, best version of themselves, and the world will be a better place because of it. And if you are dealing with chronic pain or another chronic condition, use your guidance is actually talking to you through that, and so let it know that you're listening and ask, what do I need to do next? What's the best thing I can do now? And you will get an answer. Maybe you want to journal. Maybe you want to ask for a sign. Maybe something will just show up for you. Maybe listening to this podcast was like what you needed to show up for you. So I hope you've enjoyed it, my friend, and I look forward to talking to you again.